Well, hello, EKN Nation. Welcome to another edition of This Week in Karting. It is episode number 97, April 29th, 2026. And today's show brought to you by Margay Racing. If you're looking for a great racing program and a level playing field, check out Margay Racing's Spec Ignite class and their Arrive and Drive packages. Nothing matches the affordability and competitive level of the Ignite program. It's where the best driver wins over the best equipment. Bring your safety gear and Margay will do the rest. This year's Ignite majors include the WKA Daytona Kart Week, the Quincy Grand Prix in late June, and the Rock Island Grand Prix on Labor Day weekend. The Midwest-based Ignite Challenge Series will hit 5 different tracks in 2026, and be sure to find a club or track running the Ignite class in your part of the country this season. For more information, please visit ignitekarting.com today. Get off the couch and into a race seat. All right, David Cole. Again, folks, my name is Rob Howden. David Cole joining us here in the studio. Episode 96 was the last show back in April 14th, just a couple of weeks ago. David, lots going on, though. Again, it's interesting because we're kind of getting here into, starting into Q2 of 2026. We'll get into it later in the show, but there's lots of talk of 2027 already. We've got schedules coming. We'll talk about those soon. But yeah, lots to talk about in this edition of This Week in Karting.
Yeah, we took last week off, was a little busy, and back to the podcast studio recording a new episode of This Week in Karting. Again, kind of just going over what's happened over the last 2 weeks in terms of news and topics that have hit the sport. And yeah, the kind of focus has been on 2027 stuff already, but there is still racing in 2026. I mean, we're only in April, right?
Yeah, to be honest, up here in Ontario, where I'm from, they really only just got started kind of last weekend kind of thing. So we're just getting things rolling. But because Northern California is not Southern Ontario. So they've been racing for a while. David, the Rock Cup USA announced a new Rock Fest West at Sonoma Raceway. Let's talk about that a bit.
Yeah, a new event added to the 2026 calendar. It happened to just kind of fit right for what the schedule is presenting in 2026. It was actually the weekend that Challenge of America was supposed to be at Sonoma Raceway in Sonoma, California. So Rock Cup USA taking advantage of the opening weekend and using that as a kind of a one-off event that includes over $50,000 in prizes available throughout the weekend. Kind of their in-between session, as they have 2 different championship programs happening at Sonoma Raceway. So they're into the Triple Crown 1 that's happening right now. I believe their finale is this weekend, or is their second round. I can't remember which it is, but yeah, they have that going already. And then they'll have another 3 events on the second half of the season, which will follow, I think, starts after this Rockfest event. And again, a unique, one-off event that is welcome to all Rock Cup USA racers across the country, across North America, with tickets to the Rock Cup Super Final as the kind of headline prizes available. Those are open to the winners in Mini, Rock Mini, VLR Junior, VLR Senior, the new SV Junior category, and SV Senior that'll be happening that weekend.
Yeah, that event, July 10th, 11th, and 12th at Sonoma Raceway. Fantastic racetrack, as we all know. Tickets to the Rock Cup Super Final, as David just mentioned. Rock Vegas tickets and more to be awarded as well. David, you got a note here about a VLR Senior Australian Pursuit race. I love these. I remember Scusi used to do them back in the late 90s and early 2000s. What do you know about the Australian Pursuit event?
I don't know anything. I just know that that's what was announced in their stated in their announcent.
Well, for those that don't know,
yeah, I mean, you know more about it. I've never actually seen one or done one.
Okay,
no.
Well, so essentially the way it works now, again, we don't have any confirmation of how they're going to approach this Australian Pursuit, but normally you'll take a set amount of drivers. They get started. You start the race, and the driver in last has to pull off at the end of every race. So eventually, if it's a 10 lapper and you've got 10 guys in the field, 10 drivers in the field, you're going to end up with a last lap of 2 drivers battling it out for the race win. So I'm sure they'll throw a little bit of money or something at that, some prizes at that. But I've always found it fun Scusa did them back in the day for $1,000. Bob Bondurant sponsored the $1,000 Australian pursuit race, Dash for Cashes, as Jim Murley used to call them. But it's a cool deal because David, mid-pack, you're kind of fighting for your life. Sooner or later, they're going to reach the tail, and you're going to be last. So you've always got to be trying to get to the front.
It's so Le Mans style start. They'll use the lineup set by qualifying, but they'll do an invert draw. So it'll kind of shake things up. Competitors are required to race on used Levanto tires.
All right.
So yeah, in true pursuit race fashion, they will black flag the last driver on the racetrack. And again, something different, but they don't say how many. So I'm got to assume it's going to be who's willing to do this. Because who knows when it'll be. It's Saturday, so that's before the main event. So who knows what's going to happen. Maybe they need to do it in the rental carts. I don't know.
No, it'll be a cool addition. If people jump in there and have fun, everybody will be on the fence to watch it. Lots of other off-track activities supposedly lined up for this Rock Fest West. So shout out to Rock Cup USA, leveraging that to open July 10th, 11th, 12th weekend at Sonoma Raceway. If you're a Rock driver, feel free to look into that because it's probably going to be a solid event. They got good numbers, really good numbers, David, for the first edition of the Triple Crown this year, as you talked about. I know they were super happy. Was it actually record? I think it might have been record numbers in the opening round, if I recall.
I'm not sure on record numbers, but yeah, they had a good following in all the different categories. So numbers are growing there. Again, that's kind of the Northern California location to be racing at. So that's essentially the Newcastle of Northern California or the Trackhouse of Northern California. That's where a lot of the racers are. There's still those grassroots racetracks that are around the different area, but for two-cycle racing, especially Rock Cup USA style, Sonoma Raceway is the place to race.
Let's go to Cup Karts North America, David. A big announcement from them announcing the removal of penalty points. A lot of information in that release that Cup Karts North America sent out, kind of the reasoning for it, how they were going to approach things throughout the year. The first and foremost, the kind of, I guess the motivation was a lot of feedback from drivers about, air quotes, penalty anxiety. So, you're running the divisionals, you're racing hard, you get some penalty points. They don't want to find themselves running afoul of Cup Karts North America before a national event, whether it's the winter, spring, summer nationals, or the grand nationals. They don't want to say, okay, all of a sudden I've been racing hard, David, all year long, and I all of a sudden get penalized and maybe suspended right before the grand nationals. So that was, kind of what I read into the initial.
Or the opposite. You're getting penalty points at the nationals, so you don't want to race at the divisionals because you could add more penalty points through the divisionals and not be able to race. So
that's what I'm saying. So some people aren't running the divisionals.
Okay. Yes.
Because
sorry, I thought you said the other way.
No. So I'm running the divisionals. I get too many penalty points. Maybe I'm suspended. I can't run the Grand Nationals. So that was, I think, maybe some feedback they got from some drivers that were skipping some of the divisional races.
Well, and again, Rob, when this whole penalty points kind of program came out, and the Texas Sprint Racing Series is still following it, it's kind of, it doesn't seem to me to be the answer to alleviate or to recognize bad acts on the racetrack.
I think David,
you have to solve that situation right then and there.
Yeah, well, the mentality behind it is to get the serial offender.
That's my point.
Right.
And so like they said in their statement, drivers who are receiving multiple contact penalties on a weekend, they need to get the hammer laid down on them.
Agreed.
And they're going to do that with possible disqualifications for the entire weekend. So I think you need to take care of it's like, if your kid does something wrong on Tuesday, you don't punish them on Friday, right? Yep. You punish them on Tuesday. And that's kind of the way I think of it. I understand I think the tracking idea is a great idea, but I don't think, setting the score or the maximum amount of points, because again, we're talking about pushback bumper penalties. That's not a penalty most of the time, as we've seen Supercards USA kind of remove pushback in some of the categories, because getting that pushback not necessarily means an incident responsibility act took place. And so that's where I come into that. Like, I like the idea of keeping the points as kind of like behind the scenes and keeping track of, okay, who's calling penalties and who's not causing penalties, but to kind of publish them. And Rob, you can relate this to the car stuff because we've talked about it before, but to publish them and to kind of put a bullseye on certain drivers. And so now everybody's looking at this driver in this category because they're 1 point away from not being able to race anymore.
Well, it's interesting. The USF Pro Championships just went away with penalty points. They used it last year. It was the same thing. It didn't have the desired effect. So now the USF Pro and the car side, they're saying, hey, the penalties are going to be quick and they're going to be more severe. So yeah, we're not okay. You have to get up to 10 points before you miss a weekend. And we're talking significantly more investment in your racing program to a certain extent, maybe not for some drivers these days in karting, but again, they went away from it and are just going to, I think it's more of exactly what CKNA is going to do, right? Multiple contact infractions on the weekend. You could get DQ'd for the weekend. Unsportsmanlike conduct, you could get DQ'd for another weekend, whatever it may be. Like, again, if there's multiple DQs, David, then you could throw some suspensions in there. It's just the finality of the points being added up that people start to know where you are. I don't disagree that getting rid of those is a bad idea. But again, like we talked about with SCUSA, getting rid of the pushback, it puts the onus on the race control and the race directors to drop the hammer when something happens.
Yeah, and I feel like that's kind of the other side of it too, because they're talking about video review. Now, that's something we haven't really seen at the divisionals. I guess that's what they're doing. We haven't been at any divisional races to see that in person, but they said they're going to try and work on doing that a little bit more. But again, that falls in the line of how many people do they have on the racetrack calling penalties? Do they have enough people to do all that? That's something we know they take a big emphasis of that at the Grand Nationals and at the major events that they do have, the winter, spring, summer, and now the Canadian Nationals that they're going to be hosting in May. So it's just the divisional part of it. It's finding that mesh. And again, there's a lot of racing going on, so I don't think they're able to keep the staff at all 20 races that they have throughout the year. So that's a big part of it too. Is that's something with this kind of grassroots program and still everybody having a job, but also doing this as this series. It kind of the next step is maybe we need to be more professional in the way we do things, and so. It's kind of teetering on that line of still grassroots, but hey, we need to make sure that we're providing the best officiating staff that we possibly can at every race we host.
And I feel, David, there's kind of there's a give and take when it comes to being a driver, a customer, a racer in a program like Cup Karts North America, because it is grassroots, and people are always talking about affordability, right? So. Listen, there's got to be some give and take. There's got to be some leeway because, hey, you know what? If you want more video review and you want more, make sure that nothing ever gets by anybody, that's more staff. Every time there's more staff, you're adding another $1,000, another $1,000, or whatever it may be, $2,000-$3,000 for travel onto these race weekends. And folks, that cost is going back to entry fees. That's it. It's the more an event costs to put on, the more the entry fees are going to be able to be at the race. So again, there's got to be that give and take where, you have to realize at a grassroots level, you're not going to have 100 people or 50, staff at an event. So I just think just want to throw that in there because yes, there's a lot of criticism being put on any series right now in terms of penalizing people and how they're handling video review, you name it. But the more people you have working on the staff side, the more it's going to cost you to run those races.
Yeah, and as you said, that making it affordable, that's something they're looking at doing now with the North program that's going to open this weekend. They moved it to a 2-day divisional format where no on-track activities is happening on Friday. People can still get there and be there on Friday, but no official practice sessions are going to be held. So official action begins Saturday morning. They're going to do 3 rounds of practice, qualifying 2 rounds of heats, and then feature. And then Sunday, 1 round of practice, qualifying 2 heats and a feature. and they're hoping to again alleviate the stress of leaving work for another day, or just travel costs that continue to rise and rise as we see gas going up and hotel prices are not going down anytime soon. So that's another part of it as well too, is deciding what's the best format for the racers at the divisional program, because as we know, all the major races they host are all one-offs and one main event. So trying to find the nice thing that works. Again, the South program just wrapped up its, I think, third event of the year, and they're going to have their finale later on. So they're kind of gauging off what's happening down at the South. Is like, okay, well, what do we need to change for the North? What do we need to change for the East? And what's Canada doing? And again, it's different for all different regions as well, because the majority may say, hey, no, this is the format we need or want. And so that's kind of another thing as well too, is kind of dictating and evaluating what's going to work best for the customers today.
I saw some pushback on the Facebook post that Cup Karts North America made about this, and it kind of surprised me a little bit, because
it's social media, Rob.
It is social media, and I understand. Like, you're right, but like a two-day format for a regional/divisional program seems exactly the way to do it for me. At a lower cost level, grassroots, affordable level of racing, right? These, if you had a lot more money to spend on racing, maybe you'd be in a 2-cycle, maybe you'd be in a shifter, maybe you'd be in something different, maybe you'd stay with 4-cycle, whatever it may be. But the 2-day, just again, that's kind of when I came into the sport. My club was a Saturday morning club deal, right? Waterloo Regional Kart Club. I loved it. It was Saturday morning. You were out of there by 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and you had the evening with the family or whatever you were doing. When I ran the Ontario Regional Series in the 90s and early 2000s, I loved it. I got off work on Friday, pack everything up, drive up to whatever track you were, an hour, a couple hours away, whatever it may be, hooked up with everybody when you got there, unpacked, grilled out dinner, and set your pit up, raced on Saturday and Sunday, and drove home on Sunday night. So it makes sense to me. CKNA North is trying to grow and build their program. They want more numbers, and by going to a 2-day format, you remove another one of those barriers of entry. A driver says, I'd love to be able to do it, but I can't get off work on Friday. So what do? I roll up on Friday night and everybody's got a full day of practice ahead of me. You don't need that much practice. You guys are out having a great time. If you've never been to the track, awesome. Get there, 3 sessions, go to work. Like the days of blasting out 1, 2, 3 days of practice for affordable level grassroots racing, it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, and again, it just, you look at even Pro Kart Challenge, they're 2 days when they have one round, but they're 3 days when they have 2. So there's different ways of looking at. Route has kind of a 3-day format, but you start later on Friday, so it allows you not to have to travel on Thursday if need be. Exactly. So again, there's all different ways of doing this, and I think it boils down to really just up front getting the racers to tell you which is the best way. You can't really do it on social media. We saw the situations that have happened, not only on this subject, but other subjects as well. You can't go by social media because there's too many people not involved that are chirping in.
Yeah, they're not even racing in the series.
That's my point. Yeah. So that's the struggle. So, the racers will obviously voice their opinion this weekend at G&J Kartway, and they'll take that feedback and look at the rest of the North schedule and see what they'll be able to do for that. And again, going into the summer months, it might be a little bit easier because again, your kids aren't in school. Yeah. And so getting days off is a little bit easier in that. So again, that's the thing about the sport, man. It never stays the same.
Yeah. Best of luck to everybody that's launching the CKNA North program out at G&J in Camden this weekend. So best of luck to you guys there. Off to our first break. When we get back, as we kind of alluded to earlier, we got schedules that are rolling out for 2027. We'll go over those after this break. Made in the USA. It's not just a statement, it's the mission at Factory Karts of America. Led by 5-time Super National champion Billy Musgrave, Factory Karts manufactures their frames completely in-house at the Phoenix, Arizona facility. Built and designed from the ground up specifically for the American karting market, Factory Karts brings new innovations and solutions that are long overdue. Factory Karts bring together the highest quality materials to produce high-performance, long-lasting karts that have been designed and perfected from years of development. No other karting manufacturer stands behind its product as Factory Karts does, providing a 2-year warranty on all their frames. Join the Factory Karts official race team this season, hitting the SuperKarts USA Pro Tour and Pro Kart Challenge, along with the new Southwest Super Series program. Full trackside support for Factory Kart competitors is available, along with Arrive and Drive programs and tent space housed under our new race team hauler that debuted at Super Nationals 27. Remember when American Made meant more innovative, original, stronger, faster, and just plain better? Well, American Made is back. Contact Factory Karts today to join the American Made movement. Learn more by visiting factorykarts.com or email info@factorykarts.com.
Welcome to AIM Sports and the groundbreaking Micron 6 karting data logger. Since its inception, AIM Sports has been at the forefront of motorsport technology, revolutionizing how racers gather data. From its early days, AIM has tailored its innovations to provide precise insights, allowing racers to fine-tune their strategies and push their limits. Fast forward to today, and we're excited to celebrate 30 years of Micron by introducing the latest evolution in karting data loggers, the Micron 6. Designed with cutting-edge features, including 25Hz GPS with mil-spec precision, a 6-axis inertial platform, shift lights and alarms, temperature inputs, and a host of wired and wireless expansions. With 2 CAN buses, Bluetooth, and Wi-Fi, it's perfect for karting enthusiasts looking to enhance their game on the track. With its advanced suite of sensors, high-speed data acquisition, and easy-to-use interface, the Micron 6 delivers unparalleled performance on track. Whether you're a seasoned pro or just starting out, this powerful tool helps you analyze every turn, every lap, even every heartbeat. Imagine a tool that not only records your lap times, but also analyzes parameters like speed, tire temperature, driver inputs, and engine performance. With the Micron 6, you'll gain insights that can shave seconds off your times and elevate your skills behind the wheel. Don't just drive, be data-driven. Join the AIM Sports community today and equip yourself with the Micron 6 to take your karting experience to the next level. Visit aimsports.com to learn more. AIM Sports, 30 years of Micron.
Welcome back to This Week in Karting, episode number 97, April 29th. My name is Rob Howden, joined by David Cole. In our last show, we talked about SuperKarts USA being the first series to kind of drop out their dates for their winter series and for their, obviously, national program as well. Schedule's coming out. David, the next one to drop was the Race Rotax 2027 dates, and not surprising because they're kind of working in, to a certain extent, they're in cohesion with SuperKarts USA.
Yeah, the cooperation between Race Rotax and SuperKarts USA is going to continue in 2027. We alluded to that in our last show when we talked about the SuperKarts USA schedule, but we wanted to make sure that Rotax was making their official announcement as well, and they did. And so the Winter Trophy program will be January 22nd through the 24th, and then February 19th through the 21st. So those will be the weekends after the SCUSA Winter Series. America's Trophy will run its second season in 2027, beginning in April 16th through the 18th, and followed up with June 18th through the 20th. And again, those are weekends after the SCUSA Pro Tour races. And again, the trophy final will be held July 30th through August 1st, which will be after the SCUSA Pro Tour Summer Nationals. So again, the second weekend in these back-to-back travel plans will be the Rotax, rather than this year where the first couple rounds of the America's Trophy program was before the SuperKarts USA Pro Tour.
So Race Rotax, of course, we've been watching this growth over the last couple of years, how they've really been kind of laying things down. David, a number of regional programs for 2026 and some club programs lining up for Rotax as well. They're really starting to develop their foundation once again and grow out from there as well.
Yeah, you have the Texas Karting League, which is already kicked off. You have the Northeast Karting Challenge, Great Lakes Sprint Series, the Northwest Regional Road Tax Racing Series, and the DFW Triple Crown. Those are kind of the regional programs that travel around to different racetracks, while you do have club programs happening at the Phoenix Kart Racing Association, Oakland Valley Raceway Park in New York, Quaker City Motorsports Park there in Ohio, along with the Lorain, Ohio Kartplex in northern Ohio. And then down in Florida at the PK Race Park, those are some of the club programs that do follow the road tax platform. And again, there's road tax racing other places throughout the country as well.
Yeah, there are a couple of series, as we know, that has still run the open tag program. So those engines available there as well. David, the United States Pro Kart Series also announcing their dates. Well, a majority of their dates for 2027. 3 of the 4 dates with tracks actually launched as well.
Yeah, Rob, it's interesting schedule looking at the USPKS program for 2027. They don't quite have their opener locked in yet. I got to assume they're looking at something down south, and according to some of the schedules, it could be a March weekend or it could be a May weekend or March. I don't think April, because again, you got the SCUSA program and road tax happening in April. So who knows what USPKS is going to do with that. But they will go round 2 at Trackhouse Motorplex, the unofficial home of the USPKS, on May 14th through the 16th. They'll head to Newcastle Motorsports Park on June 25th through the 27th, which is strange date selection for them because that'll be after the back-to-back weekends for SCUSA and Rotax. So essentially, you're going to have 3 straight weekends of racing in the month of June for major programs. So that quite easy on the schedule for the race teams and competitors. And then 3 straight weekends, again, counting SCUSA, Rotax, and USPKS, as USPKS is set to host their finale on August 6th through the 8th at the new Music City Kartplex, which is scheduled to be under construction with a new 9/10 of a mile course that is going to be added to their facility. I'm still trying to get confirmation if they've begun construction on that. I think they may have, but I wasn't able to get a hold of people who were there this past weekend in time to get more information. So I'm still kind of tracking that down. Again, Google Maps doesn't exactly show you everything that's happening current time and stuff like that. So, it's something that's been planned over, I think, at least over the last year, that this facility in Tennessee is looking to bring major karting into that state. And I think the designs look unique. I just still question, again, Rob, as we talk about with any new racetrack that gets built, can we fit anybody into the paddock?
Paddock. Yep.
That's my question. So, but USPKS is going to pull the trigger. They're doing it with Lorain, Ohio Kartplex this year, being like the first major event at that program, which is still somewhat, the racetrack's done, but everything around it still under construction and should be finishing up by midsummer to welcome them, I believe, in September for the series finale, but adding a new racetrack to the repertoire for USPKS and Music City Kartplex.
Yeah, SCUSA, Race Rotax, and USPKS, all with their 2027 events announced. It's going to be a packed schedule, as we know. David, a bit that just went up on actually the website here this week, and it's it's like really cool kind of industry bit of news, but the company called Foundation Wheel Development has been established. Kyle Heckman is the guy behind the new company, and the focus of FWD is to essentially build purpose-built steering wheels for kid kart and cadet drivers. It really makes sense to me once I sat down and talked to Kyle about it.
Yeah, it makes sense to me for sure. Once I learned about it, I started looking at the kid karts and cadets, and it is like they have the normal steering wheels that the adults have, but yet they have the smaller hands.
Wee hands.
They do. I won't.
Don't say it.
I want to say it so bad. But yes, so these wheels, the FWD wheels, come with smaller grip circumference and slightly smaller overall height and width to kind of go with the size of the drivers. And And to be honest, Rob, it's not a bad idea because,
No.
again, grip is a major part of being a driver, right? You got to be controlling everything with the wheel. So if you're not comfortable, with your grip level, how can you really control the cart?
Yeah, listen. One of the big things about when you're putting a kid into one of these kid carts or cadets machines, as you talked about, is that big regular steering wheel, right? The big thick wheel that, although we're able to get our hands around it as adults and the older juniors, when you're a kid cart or cadet with those smaller hands, man, it's. I saw the initial announcement, thought that's a fantastic idea. Kind of filled maybe an issue that people kind of didn't understand yet, but Kyle's both his sons run kid kart, right? They were at the CKNA Grand Nationals, so he's doing this with experience. He's got kids in the sport, so he kind of understands the design and the motivation and the answer he's trying to provide for what is essentially a minor problem. So good shout out to Kyle Heckman from Foundation Wheel Development. If you haven't seen it yet, jump on ekartingnews.com. The article's on there. He also posted some stuff on social media where he kind of goes over the company and his focus behind the program. So all in all, a really cool addition to the industry of the sport.
And it's not just designed for kids, because he said he's already had adults coming through and purchasing wheels to try them out. And Rob, for me, I was a road racer. I love that butterfly steering wheel.
Yeah.
It kind of reminds me like a smaller grip. Like you look at F1 cars, Indy cars, they're all smaller wheels. They're not these big, massive NASCAR wheels that you're hanging on to. Why not try a little smaller wheel? Again, it probably changes the way you input with the steering. So you got to it'd be great to kind of see a back-to-back testing, like big wheel versus small wheel for kind of an adult driver. Maybe one with a little bit more experience than me and you.
Yeah, 100% on that. Last but not least, before we go into our next break, the Rawlson Performance Group is hosting a spring training event in the Pacific Northwest. David, give us some more information on that. A mid-May spring training for drivers you're either with Rawlson Performance Group, or maybe you're looking at them like, man, I'd love to be able to be part of the action. This spring training could give you a chance to kind of get to know the people at RPG.
Yeah, allows for drivers to sample what the RPG experience really is about without having to do it during a race weekend. And again, not sure on the racetracks they're going to do. I think they're going to bounce around to a couple different racetracks in the Pacific Northwest region. I'd
expect Pat's Acres and probably McMinnville.
Yeah, he didn't quite say where. So he's kind of keeping that open.
All right.
So who knows where it's going to end up. But yeah, it again, like you said, allows for drivers that haven't been with RPG before to experience it, or those who are just new to it, or those still running under the RPG tent to get more training, get more hands-on one-on-one coaching that they don't already get. They already get it during the race weekend, but this just adds another level to what they provide. And especially when you're working with Ben Cooper among the coaches that'll be on hand. The Canadian is a 4-time Rotax Grand Finals winner, a 4-time Supercarts USA Super Nationals winner. Again, the experience that he has is just phenomenal. And again, we're getting into that summer months. This allows, again, racing is racing, but to be able to fine tune like what you're struggling with, what you need help with, these spring training courses or camps help you kind of pinpoint those.
I was going to say, if you're a club level driver or a regional level driver really wanting to level up your performance, spending a couple of days with Rawlson Performance Group, it's not a full race weekend where you're in the middle of a race. This is 3 days of hardcore, or 4 days rather, of hardcore development data. Like this is going to, if you're a club or regional driver, this is going to take you to the next level, no doubt about that. And as David mentioned, Ben Cooper, among all those coaches that they have on hand, Mike Rawlson, so many great drivers part of that program, working on the wrenches, working on the data. And David, we would be remiss if we did not say and wish Ben Cooper a happy birthday. It's his birthday today, by the way.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Happy birthday, Ben.
Yeah.
The former Brit, now Canadian.
Great opportunity for anyone to sample the Rawlson Performance Group program. After the break, we come back. David's going to run over the editorial that he has put up on EKN over the last couple of weeks. History, success, family. Those are the 3 words that can describe Comet Kart Sales, one of the longest tenured karting businesses in the United States. The family-owned operation located just outside of Indianapolis has provided carts, parts, and services for thousands of racers in the near 6 decades of business. Their online store features everything you need, continually adding new parts to their product line. From full karting packages, new engines, spare or replacement parts, and safety gear, find it all at CometKartSales.com. Their Comet Racing Engine service has won multiple major events and championships over decades of karting and continues to offer the best trackside service in the industry, specializing in IAME X30, IAME Swift, and other 2-cycle power plants. Make sure to head to CometKartSales.com or call them at 317-462-3413 to be part of the Comet Kart Sales family today. Let decades of experience and success lead you to the top of the podium. Join Brandon Jarsacrack Racing as your race team at the sport's major events in the United States. Brandon Jarsacrack is a 4-time United States Pro Kart Series champion, along with a multi-time SuperKarts USA Pro Tour and WKA Manufacturers Cup Series race winner. Jarsacrack is ranked among one of the best from his generation to get behind the wheel of a racing kart. BJR provides full race team service and support at all USPKS, SCUSA, and Stars Championship Series events, along with trackside programs at the Trackhouse Motorplex in Mooresville, North Carolina. Partnering with Mike Doty Racing, Brandon's team of driver coaches and mechanics are passionate for the sport, providing decades of experience both on the track and working with many of today's karting standouts and current motorsport stars. Brandon Jarsacrack Racing offers a full range of services, including kart preparation, driver coaching, and race event support for both 2-cycle and 4-cycle competitors. BJR is an official LN Racing Kart team with OTK USA and is an official offset sport race team. Contact them today to develop a program based around your needs. Head to BrandonJarsacrack.com to learn more. Welcome back to This Week in Karting. Rob Howden here alongside David Cole, episode 97, April 29th. David, what do you got in terms of EKN editorial that you've been able to put together over the last couple of weeks to get up onto the website?
Good product spotlight featuring the Rotax chain guard manufactured by Precision Karting Technologies here in Michigan. They do a lot of different accessories for the Rotax brand, and they wanted to make sure that everybody knew about their Rotax chain guard, which fits the newer models of the Rotax engine, and again provides great protection for not only the driver but the radiator as well, and again allows you to work on the clutch without having to take the chain guard off. So quite a unique and again innovative products available through PKT.
Dave, we saw a lot of really impressive performances through Q1 of 2026. Let's wrap up the driver of the month for March of this year.
Yeah, Ashton Woon essentially was the leader in the clubhouse once the month wrapped up as I want to say it was 6 podium finishes and 7 races that included 4 different categories. Yeah. So do the math on that. He raced the FZ85 junior shifter. He raced junior Rotax. Won in the KA junior and the X30 junior categories, all in back-to-back weekends at Tucson in the Race Rotax America's Trophy program and the SuperKarts USA Pro Tour Winter Nationals. So quite a back-to-back performance for the Arizona native that now lives in North Carolina.
Yeah, when you're winning races across a couple of different events, major events in the month, you're going to be a part of a small group that we have to select from. But yeah, Ashton Woon, impressive run through the month of March. David, I like this as well as we kind of cap off the month of April here. You knocked out driver rankings again for both shifter and tag, and there's been a bit of motion, some drivers falling, some drivers moving up. But yeah, you were able to go through and provide the driver rankings as we head into the month of May.
Yeah, driver rankings presented by Stilo USA. For shifter, we saw Adrian Renaudin, still the French driver, up top, but now it's Mateus Morgado, the Brazilian, and Jay Irwin, the driver from New Zealand, sitting in third. So a very international field there in the top 3 after we got through what was the action in Q1 in 2026. So a lot of things shaking up there, and especially in the tag driver rankings, as we now have Super Nationals winner Gus Lawrence as the driver in the number 1 position. He is followed up by Paulie Massimino and Diego Ramos, who have both had pretty good, solid starts to the 2026 season. But Lawrence having that Super Nationals win just into what I believe is his 12th month of racing in the U.S. Not even, I don't know how many times he's raced here in the U.S., but he started racing in the U.S. At the USPKS second event at Trackhouse Motorplex.
Wow.
So not even 12 months racing in the USA, and he's already up to number 1.
Pretty impressive. All right, let's wrap up the spotlight on the EKN editorial with most recent Fast Five. Gerald Casely, who runs the CKNA Canada program, maybe one of the really cool, or maybe the coolest kind of announcements, developments, whatever it may be here to start off 2026. And that's their 4-cycle Canadian Nationals, David, that they're putting on up in Mont-Tremblant this year, middle of May. Gerald, of course, we've been chatting with him with our new association and partnership with Cup Karts North America. They are building this race at the Mont-Tremblant track, and it is exploding. Their senior categories are getting sold out. I think the Kid Kart just got sold out, or the Cadet just got sold out. This is going to be a massive event. They're plus 200 already, rolling towards 250, 300. This is going to be one of those initial races that fires things off. But you had a chance to do a Fast Five with Gerald.
Yeah, he's calling it like the Daytona 500 of Canadian karting right now, because it's going to help open up the season.
Yeah.
Start with the big one, and get the season underway. So yeah, it was exciting. It was good to talk with him. Great information he provided in our fast, which typically is supposed to be fast, but he had some pretty good long answers there.
Lots to talk about for sure.
Lots of information from him.
As David said, CKNA Canada kicking off with their biggest race, the Nationals in Quebec, very similar to Daytona for NASCAR, and of course the Rolex 24 for IMSA. Back to another quick break, folks. When we come back, David and I are going to dive one more time into the future of pushback bumpers in the U.S.
The karting championship that's taken Europe by storm and helped launch today's top open-wheel stars is now in the United States. Introducing Champions of the Future America. Champions of the Future America is a 9-round series that welcomes drivers across multiple classes, including Mini, KA100, and X30. Champions of the Future America tours 2 of the Southwest's premier karting facilities, K1 Circuit in Southern California and Spring Mountain Karting Complex in Nevada. Drivers will compete across 8 unique track layouts in pursuit of a prize pool valued at over $130,000. The ultimate reward? Our X30 Pro champion will win an all-expenses-paid trip to France for a 3-day Formula 4 training camp at the legendary Winfield Racing School at Circuit Paul Ricard. Learn more about Champions of the Future America. Register now at championskartingamerica.com. That's championskartingamerica.com.
Do you want to become a professional race car driver? Are you ready to take your first steps into car racing? If so, Allenberg Racing School is the ideal place for you to make that happen. And as a bonus, our school is located at everyone's bucket list track, WeatherTech Raceway Laguna Seca. From your first steps in a Formula car, all the way to racing in the USF Pro Championships and the USF Junior Series, it's all part of our program at Allenberg Racing Schools and our competition operation, Berg Racing. At Allenberg Racing Schools, you'll learn from a former Formula 1 driver who will be driving a full-on carbon fiber tub Tatis race car with aerodynamic wings and racing slicks. Not an old technology tube frame car. You'll get more track time per day than at any other school, and our 3-day and advanced programs will have you prepared to race competitively with our Berg Racing program, which participates in both the Ligier JFC Championship and the USF Junior Championship. To learn more, check us out online at allenbergracingschools.com. Be a racer.
Back at it here, folks, for the What's Hot segment of our This Week in Karting, the latest topics in the sport of karting. In the last show, we talked about the future of pushback bumpers in the U.S., kind of a second part here. Superkarts USA electing to pull the pushbacks off of a number of their top categories. David, the question is, do we still need pushback bumpers in regional and club competition? What are your thoughts there?
Yeah, it's kind of part two of what we talked about with the future of the pushback, and we got through the SuperKarts USA Winter Nationals with a couple of categories. We talked about the starts. Really that's what it boils down to. I think is we're seeing we need to keep policing the starts if we don't have pushbacks, and that's one of the major elements of that, because we do have pushbacks. We see very limited to no contact at the starts, and that's what we want to see. We don't want to revert back to what we saw a few years back when there were no pushbacks and drivers from 40th are trying to get to 20th in one corner. And again, so that's good. Now, looking at it at the regional and club level, we do have regional programs that do use it, like Texas Sprint Racing Series. We have it at Route 66 Sprint Series and other programs. But you look at grassroots, like what do we need it in grassroots? Is it something? And what I keep boiling back down to, and we kind of talked to it earlier, and we alluded to it, is you got to have the right officials calling things, and really that's what we really need to kind of focus industry wise. I think is building up the amount of people who are able to provide be race officials, being on track staff, being race directors, assistant race directors, chief steward. Like that's a major part of it, I think, too. We need to have the right people describing and explaining what drivers are doing wrong and why they receive penalties. I think we can't just say, hey, here's the video, or not even show them a video and leave it at that. We have to, it's almost like we need to start having some driver coaches become race stewards. I know that's a little bit of a pay cut for some of them, but maybe that's like what we can do at the grassroots level is okay, hey, bring so-and-so and have them be a race steward and provide the feedback to competitors. I think, again, that, as foundationally wise with our sport here in the US, I think that's where we're lacking, because we're getting the racers, we're getting an influx of new people into the sport, but we're not evolving in that side of things. Yes, there's programs adding video and trying to do it that way, but video doesn't always do and complete everything that you need done. You still have to have the people to do it. No different than like AI. You can have AI do all these graphics and have these shiny, interesting looking graphics for you, but it doesn't have that personal feel or that personal touch. So I think for racing, you can't just rely on a video. Hey, this is a penalty. This is not a penalty. Well, you got to explain it. You got to teach people. And that's something that I think that we're kind of lacking here at the grassroots and regional level.
Yeah, and I do think it comes to club level racing, right? Your kart clubs around the country. Again, you're talking about affordability. Every time you're adding another layer of staffing, and listen, as we know, it's unbelievably expensive for a club to buy a video marshaling system. It's just ridiculously expensive. So if that's not something your club has your budget for, or does not want to have to add all those extra people in terms of to staff that and to watch it costs a lot of money. Then again, like you said, it comes down to the race director, the steward, whoever's handling that. And you've heard me say this many times, I oftentimes think you just need the penalties need to be stiffer. If you get into the back of somebody and wreck somebody during a race, just throw the black flag. Like just you've been black flagged. You took that driver out. You're off the racetrack. It's as simple as that. Or you can add the both together. Or if you don't want to black flag somebody, if you've taken somebody out and the race director said, I watched you hit that guy, you took him out, you finished behind him. I think a lot of the times pushback bumpers, we talked about it, David. It was kind of that thing that people used. Hey, we need to clean up the starts. The starts are ridiculously crazy. These pushback bumpers are going to do it. And they did. We had a lot cleaner starts as soon as we went pushback bumpers, but we still have hardcore racing and really, really aggressive, maybe even overly aggressive racing, club, regional, national, whatever it may be. But if we get harsher with the penalties and have them immediate, as opposed to again, like I said about the black flag, what I love about the black flag is that you can't protest it. You're already off the racetrack. We can't put you back into seventh because you wrecked the guy who was running sixth. I think if we get harsher penalties, the black flag, and then if you take somebody out, you go behind them, not a 5-second penalty or a 3-position penalty. If you wreck somebody, you finish behind them. You're going to see, I think you'll see a change in the way people race because there'll be consequences to their actions.
Well, and again, Rob, that's one of the problems is we're having new people at the major events and they haven't come up through the club and the regional programs.
That's
They've just
true too.
Gone right there too. So again, I think fundamentally we just have still a lot of issues that we need to address as an industry, and we haven't. And again, that's just a long-term situation. Short-term wise, though, I don't see the need for pushback. I think, you run it to kind of get it to help with the starts. Maybe that's the only thing I can think of. And if it helps alleviate that, it's just hard to dictate, okay, did you get it at a start or did you get it from contact? But you still have to have, I don't know. It's a tough situation to call. And I don't really have a right answer or solution to do that. I just think fundamentally wise, I think our sport needs to look at that. We need more officials. And unfortunately it's not the most liked job to have.
Exactly that. Yeah, people aren't running into clubs wanting to be a race director. Let's put it that way. All right, folks, final break. When we get back, we'll just tell you what's coming up on ekartingnews.com and where the next coverage events will be focused. Ready to step up your game? Joining the Rawlison Performance Group is the obvious choice to take your racing to the next level. Industry-leading driver development is provided by our staff of multi-time national champions, Super Nationals winners, and Team USA members. And at the same time, RPG continues to be a national-level powerhouse race team. Our goal is to help you raise your game and win races. We work with all age groups and are focused on developing those cadet and junior drivers who are ready to take the next step in their racing program. Rawlison Performance Group has set a new standard with our in-house engine program, AVP Engines, headed by Alex Vincent. AVP has become the benchmark in IAME competition. We have the largest OTK inventory that follows our race team, providing trackside parts at all the major events in North America. RPG also offers multilingual support with French, Spanish, and Portuguese-speaking staff. If you want to fight for championships or want to improve your skills and your chances to win, the answer is to call RPG at 503-260-4514. The Rawlison Performance Group. We race to win. Parolin is among the winningest brands in the USA and around the world. The Parolin Le Mans full-size chassis for junior and senior classes and the Parolin Opportunity model for cadet divisions have earned success weekend after weekend at all the major championships and events in both the USA and throughout Europe. The Parolin chassis lineup also includes the Invader shifter, along with the Daytona 4-cycle chassis and the Delfino Kid Kart. Karters can head to the ParolinUSA.com website where the entire chassis line and parts are available to you, with shipping available all across North America. Parolin USA partners with several companies and race teams across the country to provide a strong dealer network to represent the brand locally and at the national level to support drivers throughout North America. Get on the chassis that's winning. Drive a Parolin. Welcome back to episode 97 of This Week in Karting. Rob Howden alongside David Cole. We're going to cap things off for this edition, this April 29th edition of the show. David, just a couple of races for us, as we know, coming up, but you're off for a little bit, which is nice. You got to wait till June till you're back at the track, so still over a month for you. Let's talk about the races that we have to look forward to here in the next couple of months.
Yeah, the RMC America's Trophy program will be heading to Motorsports Country Club of Cincinnati, Batavia, Ohio. We won't be there trackside, but we'll be able to provide post-race coverage of that event. We'll obviously be following it on our phones as it happens all weekend long. We'll go to and then we'll head down to Motorsports Country Club of Cincinnati for the SuperCar USA Pro Tour Spring Nationals on June 12th through the 14th in Batavia, Ohio.
Yeah, my first trip to Motorsports Country Club of Cincinnati by talking to the Bales about getting finally down there and looking forward to that for sure. Back-to-back weekends for the coverage events of the RMC America's Trophy. Then you and I'll be heading down to do a trackside coverage of the Spring Nationals midway through the SuperKarts USA Pro Tour program. As you know, folks, if you're listening to the podcast here, either on the EKN Radio Network, the only 24-hour, 7-day-a-week channel in the sport, you can also download all of our podcasts through iTunes, Spotify, Podbean. It's on YouTube now as well. Please subscribe to the podcast. Give us a review. That'll help push us up the order as well. So we do thank you for tuning in. That caps things off, folks, for this edition of This Week in Karting. Big shout out to Margay Racing and Ignite Karting for being our sponsor here. Lots of racing going on. Margay's already rolling as well. Lots going on. New clubs coming on board. We talked about that. The Ignite Challenge getting fired up as well. But again, thank you so much for tuning in, folks. More to come here on the EKN Radio Network. On behalf of David Cole, my name's Rob Howden. Bye for now.